Kia ora koutou, Pere here. Before we kick off this kōrero with Tipene, I just wanted to say that if we're still in lockdown, I hope you are healthy, safe and happy. Lockdown looks different for all of us. For some of us, the biggest impact is that it means we're getting through our Netflix recommendations a bit quicker. For others of us, it means that we're lonely, missing whānau and friends and don't know how to cope with that sudden lack of contact. For some of us, it's about trying to juggle any number of children while working, maybe as a solo parent or alongside another parent. And for some of us, we're not even able to work and therefore we can't pay the bills because of the lockdown. But he waka eke no, we're all in this together, and the one thing that we all need is a bit of kindness and aroha. So please remember to give that when you can. Give it to others, give it to yourself. If you need something, reach out, call a neighbour, talk to your whānau, call me if you need to. And that's part of being kind to yourself, giving yourself permission to ask for help. Because this is one of those times in our lives when we don't only need to be focused on helping ourselves, but be focused on working together as a society. It's one of those times when kotahitanga or togetherness matters even more than ever. So please think about your neighbours, think about our old people, and think about yourself too and what you can do to help. He waka eke no, we're all in this together and we'll get through it by working together. Kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui. Be strong, be brave, be steadfast. Kia ora.
Well, you know, that feeling, bro, you know, when you hear a mean track, like when I hear, you know, even still now, I won't deny it, I'm straight rider, you don't want to, and you know, just like, and I'm like, wow, that just sounds tough, you know, you just like, that just makes you feel powerful, like when you hear that, and, you know, I want to be, I'm a rider, you know, shit, you know, yeah, man, fuck, bro, you can't mess with me, man, shit. You know, but just the feeling it gave you, that feeling of power, that feeling of like, I'm owning my own life, I'm moving forward, I'm leading in my own way. That's the feeling that I was so drawn to with gangster music, was the way it made me feel.
That's the cool thing about being a Māori artist.
To show me that was possible. Uncle Sam voice. Prioritize every word of life that I have. Here's your phone number. Although it's your hang to succeed. Me being left alone at home with gangsters. What does this mean?
Tēnā koutou, no mai haere mai ki te Paperback Gorillas, the podcast for mana enhancing kōrero that we think is... What is a paperback gorilla?
Yeah.
Paperback gorilla is somebody who reads books and uses the information and that knowledge to make change happen. In this kōrero, I sit down with Tipene Harmer, a rapper from Hastings. We talk about his new album Heritage Trail and how it's tūpuna driven. We spend the first little bit geeking out about Aotearoa hip-hop, and then we get into some of our standard fare of kai. We talk about how Tipene got to the position in life where he is doing the mahi that he loves and thriving, what could have stopped him along the way, and some of the learnings that he's had and received from rangatahi and older people in the hip-hop community and outside of that, and a whole lot more. This was a really fun kōrero. It was really good to connect with Tipene and talk about Aotearoa hip-hop, and especially about Aotearoa hip-hop and te ao Māori, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I have. Kia ora. Peter Barrett tēnei. I am Peter Barrett. Well, this is Peter Barrett, and I'm here with the bro Tipene, who I'll pass the rākau over to introduce himself.
Oh, tēnā tātou, thank you for having me. Te uri o Ngāti Kahungunu ki here taonga. I'm from the Hawke's Bay. Yeah, and mana enhancing, bro. I'm all for it. Hey, kaupapa trim. Let's do it.
Hard. Kia ora. Mean, bro. So firstly, yeah, maybe just, do you want to introduce yourself, bro, in whatever way you, you know, over and above or below? Don't know.
Yeah.
You know, where you're from.
Yeah, bro. I guess if I started right at the thing, bro, I'm a dad. You know, I got 5 kids. I grew up, I got 13 siblings. Grew up in the hood, Flaxmere. Loved that place. Taught me a lot. I don't live there now. Just, you know, gotta spread the wings and flap the wings. Been doing hip hop I think hip hop saved my life, bro. You know, actually I didn't know it was hip hop when I first started doing it. It was just fun. just rapping and kind of, stories and stuff like that. I didn't learn about the culture of hip hop till a little bit later, so I think that grew my appreciation for hip hop like far. I could relate a lot to it as a Māori person. So, I found heaps of synergies there, and we'll probably get into those corridors, if we go that way. Yeah, bro, and yeah, I guess for me, the journey is to uplift, to flash word I heard the other day, bro, re-indigenize. That's really what I'm about. Once I found out what that word was, I was like, oh, yeah, that's me. And it's really just, through education and just the use of reo and mātauranga Māori, really, things in the Māori world that we learn and teach each other. Yeah, bro. And using hip hop to do that. So, well, actually doing that through hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So I just wanted to send a mihi to you while we're here, because I've spent the last couple of days listening to Heritage Trail, and bro, the first album that I listened to that really inspired me to start rapping as a Māori was Damn Native, KDRU, Kaupapa Driven Rhymes Uplifted, and that was the first time that it was the first time I really started paying personal attention to Aotearoa hip hop, in the sense that like, I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
And so I heard that in a Māori, with a Māori ear, and was thinking, cool, this is me. I'm Māori. I can rap. But I've never since then felt that same way listening to an artist before. Like there's one or two, but never influentially that have actually made me stop and go, cool. Like that makes me kind of rethink about my connection with hip hop and my connection with Te Ao Māori, and how they can fit together and go together. So yeah, bro, I just wanted to meet to you quickly and say thank you for that, because I think it's going to be an important album for us as Aotearoa. It's definitely feeling like it's an important album for me. You might have even persuaded me to fix the pop filter on the mic out the back there in my that you could probably see on the camera, and
yes,
maybe finish off some of these waiata that have been sitting there going, you're too old to rap now.
Never.
So yeah, bro, thank you for that.
No,
like I said, like we are Māori. Aotearoa is promoted as being Māori, and is promoted as having this massive the massive mana that tangata whenua bring to this land, right? This place that we stay, but we don't promote or talk about it very much, or celebrate it in hip hop. And you've done that in this album, and I'm loving it so far.
Well, kia ora, bro. Thank you for that, mihi. That's a huge honor, bro, because that's my favorite hip hop album too. KDRU, bro. I think I had similar experiences when I saw Danny. I think I saw Behold My Cool Style for the first time on RTR Countdown or something, and I was just sitting there like, fuck, I was like, fuck, that fella's a Māori fella. Fuck, and he's mean ass, because at that time I only thought American fellas could do it,
Exactly, yeah.
And he showed us that we could not only do it, we could do it at a level that's international. And I knew that then as a teenage fella just watching it, just like, this dude don't sound like no uncle at the party rapping. Like, he sounds like he knows what he's on about. Like, and it made me want to listen, and all those all those power pūrākau and all those stories about our tūpuna that stuck with me. And if I can go to a song that inspired me, bro, off that album, would have been I think it was like track 3. It's called Extremities. And it goes, there's a line in it, man, that spoke to me. It said, like, America doesn't give a damn about me, her vibe, the influence. I'm sure to keep it Māori, but just keep practicing, brother, and it'll soon come, and don't let the hectic effects of life overcome. And I was like, shit, he talking to me.
There's this alleyway in Otaki that you walk through, and my auntie lives behind the fence, Auntie Amo, and right, that's a memory of there walking through there, listening to that I must have heard it just as I walked past her house.
Beautiful.
But yeah.
Beautiful. That's how captivating it is, bro. You remember where you were when you first heard it, you know? You remember how it made you feel? Because I believe music is all about that, bro. So how you feel, you know? Music's all about the way you feel. And, you know, and it's the feeling that people are drawn to. And then all of the other stuff, you know, like, then you get all the intricacies and that stuff too. But if you're not drawn to that energy to begin with, you know, it's a struggle to get anyone to engage with it. But Hypes and Damn Native, they had that. You know, we had Upper Hut Posse, who were the OGs, were like the radical tamaitis on the mic, pretty much. You know, Tame back then, no, not now. He's a very different person now. But you know, I actually thought those fellas were a little bit scary. You know, like you know, these fellas are like, whoa, you know, like don't mess with these dudes, bro. They can stab you in the eye with a patu or whatever is near. You know, like so. I didn't really take to it that much. But I you know, but air too, stand proud, kia kaha, say it loud. I'm like, shit, that just spoke to you, like. And then Damn Native came along, and he had the style, he had the hip hop flair as well, and it was like a perfect balance.
Even for our artists who are comfortable in walking in Te Ao Māori and who are surrounded by that world, why is it so much easier to put across that American sound and to not talk so much about that side of us?
I think it's a couple of things, bro. One is acceptance. You know, because you're out there and you want to be accepted by your peers, and your peers ain't doing that. So, you know, we just go with the cool kids. You know, if you want to be in the cool group, you got to do what the cool kids are doing. But also on the other side of that, you know, and it could be more, but for a lot of us, we didn't have those, I guess, we didn't have the privilege of growing up with that, you know, with Te Ao Māori, and for it to come as a second nature type thing. And yeah, definitely. I'm lucky, bro, like in a lot of ways, but I had to be courageous too in a lot of ways, I guess, you know, because when I realized how different my approach was to the music, you know, I sort of ran that risk of, in my own mind, that maybe no one will collaborate with me because of that, you know, because I don't cuss in my songs. And it's not because I don't know how to cuss; it's because those are the words, not the words that come to my mind when I'm thinking about songwriting. Because if you think about it, there's only like 3 swear words in the whole anything.
Yeah.
You know, and as a lyricist, if you keep going back to those 3 words, or what's that telling you about your level of skill? You know, it's like, you know, so maybe in a cipher, I mean, you know, something like that. But for me, I wanted my kids to hear it. You know, I wanted my nannies to hear it and be proud. I wanted my mum and dad to hear it, because I never swore in front of my mum and dad, still don't. You know, and that wasn't something I was brought up with. You know, so you know, when you're around people that you respect, that was a sign of respect for us growing up. So I guess that's, you know, mehi to my mum and dad for the way they raised me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I always wonder if there's something as well about the, you know, just the cultural majority, like that.
Yep.
That, and that's, I mean, like you said, like there was no one there doing it, so therefore the major culture within hip hop was the American culture, right? And probably a whole nother wānanga in there about why the American hip hop culture, and Black American hip hop culture especially is what it is, as opposed to, you know, something else, because they've kind of created that culture.
Absolutely, bro.
I'm imagining because they were, you know, they had their actual original culture that they came from kind of cut off. You know, they were cut off from the knees of that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But then you think about that just concept by itself, and then you apply that to Aotearoa. Yeah, like I remember when I first started doing hip hop, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, man. I rolled up on DLT because he's from Hastings, and I was like, man, if I roll up in this dude, bro, spit some raps, man, I should be in, man. Should be like Dr. Dre, Eminem. You know, I rolled up, bro, and I was rapped my ass off, and then he kind of said to me, you know much about hip hop? I was like, not really. Nah, I didn't at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he threw a few names at me. I was like, nah, bro. I knew KRS-One, which saved me a little bit, and he just said, bro, you might want to go to the Bronx and see what it's all about, and spend some time there and see if this is still what you want to do. So I left his house, and he knows the story, bro. I've already said it to him, and I was just like, fuck, this fella. I knew he was a hard cunt, but he just told me to piss off to New York, type of thing. I was just like, hey, shit. So my plan went out the window, and I sulked all the way home. Anyway, I was like, man, stuff this, I'm going to do it. So I went over. I spent like a month, like 5 weeks over there. And I really wanted to, and like, what do you call it? I wanted, this is like 2015, bro, 14, something like that. I wanted to be around there to sort of gauge the energy, what it was like there, And yeah, I actually started feeling for them, bro. I actually started feeling for them and how much they had lost, and just like, fuck, these people won't know their whakapapa, they don't know. Fuck, and then I read about slavery and all the stuff that they went through as a people, and I'm like, when I come home, I was like, there's no way I'm ever gonna do a track about a chick and talk about her assets and, and talk about money and all these kinds of things, because they don't really matter to us. I mean, we were lucky our tūpuna were onto it, bro. They left us clues, They left us all of these waiata, all of this thing, all this moko and, our names and the place names and the marae and the haka and the waka and all of those things. They left off all these clues for us to pick it up. They don't have that over there. So I was like, actually, what's our excuse now? What is our, someone like Snoop Dogg comes over here and he's like, man, I want to hear these Aotearoa New Zealand rappers, and they're hearing something that sounds like them. What you think they're going to be thinking? Like, oh, okay.
It's an interesting kind of lack of connection that we seem to make, and an ease of connection that we seem to make to this other culture. Which and like I say, I think, bro, your album will hopefully remind a few other people that doesn't have to be the case.
Well, that feeling, bro, when you hear a mean track, like when I hear, even still now, I won't deny it, I'm straight right it. You don't want to, and just like, and I'm like, wow, that just sounds tough, you just like, that just makes you feel powerful. Like when you hear that, and I want to be. I'm a writer. Shit. Yeah, man. Wow, bro, you can't mess with me, man. Shit. But just the feeling it gave you, that feeling of power, that feeling of like, I'm owning my own life. I'm moving forward. I'm leading in my own way. That's the feeling that I was so drawn to with gangster music, was the way it made me feel. When you played that, and you play a Snoop Dogg track, you play any Dre track, and you're just like, and then the musicality of it, and you got all those things going on, but it was the energy that drew me, and I was like, well, I would never go and shoot someone and call someone a hoe and, do 20 albums about that, that's not what but I like the sound of that. It's like, yo. So for me, I was just like, well, I need to capture that feeling, I need to capture that feeling, what made me feel like that, break it down sonically and understand what it was that made me go, whoa, and put it in this album, and then bring our stories into it. Boom, te ao Māori, te ao Pākehā even, with the English, with the whole thing, because that's my first language, and all of those kinds of things, and really just mix it right up, bro, and just make this freaking fireball of Mickey, so when you get hit with it, it's going to actually make you more powerful, it's not going to blow you, like, it's not going to be, oh, it's going to be like, boom, oh, now we're, taking that energy and really giving it to people, really.
Would you say you are doing the mahi that you love with your life?
Well, bro, there's 3 things I'm passionate about, the most passionate about. One is people, you know, and that's including my whānau, my kids, my everyone. People, I'm passionate about people. Number 2 is music, you know, super passionate about music. You know, I'll go all out for music, you know, because I know how much it gives to me and I know how much it constantly gives me. So we have a good relationship. The other one is being Māori. So, you know, when I put all those things together, you know, a new passion. I actually don't think it's a new passion. It's probably the 4th thing on the list, bro, would be just learning, bro. You know, education, bro. And if I put all those things together, you know, I'm a kaiako, bro. You know, I work in a school. I teach kids. Mātauranga Māori and tīkanga Māori and te ao Māori. I get to use my experience to help enhance them, but they enhance me as well. So it's a relationship thing. And music, bro, my music's always going to be good because I'll be in a good space, and you know, I'm passionate about all those things. So yeah, bro, I'm living what I consider to be, bro, the dream.
I mean, how did you get to the point of knowing what those, firstly, of knowing what those passions are, and then secondly, I guess, of being able to actually pursue them, because those are the two big challenges, right?
I guess when I found out it was a passion, like especially with just music in particular, it was something I was constantly thinking about all the time. And I knew that, you know, it's like your first girlfriend, you know. You're always thinking about it all the time, you know, when I'm going to talk to her next, when she's going to ring me, does she even like me? Who's their fella? You know, because you're constantly thinking about it, you know, and constantly wanting to engage with music. So that's when I knew I didn't have a point that was like, oh, yeah, that's my, you know, it was more something that I just did and it fueled me, bro. There was a second part to that question.
So the second part is how did you take the first step into actually following that? So if we just stick with the music.
If we stick with the music, bro, I always did music locally in my hood of Flaxmere and Hastings. Had a few mixtapes floating around. Crack up how we actually made those, but
what made you start? What made you do your first mixtape? Because I mean, when I was at primary school, everybody wanted to rap. When I started writing raps when I was in primary school, and then in college, same thing. Like did some little mixtape things, but none of those other 12 mates who wanted to rap did. So what was the difference?
It's probably crisscross, bro. You know, and because they were kids, bro. Like actually about the same age as those dudes. You know, they were like 11 or 12 when they rocked out, and I was about the same age. And I was like, oh, he's like, kids are rapping and they're mean, you know. So it automatically said in my head, shit, I could do that, you know. I could do that. When I actually recorded something, that was quite a lot longer later. It was like probably another 10 years. I would have been at college, and we entered this flipping talent quest, bro. Oh, we entered this talent quest, bro, and we did a Bone Thug song, me and a few of my bros, and we had it all sort of sorted out. Well, I did, because I practiced like, this is my chance, man. I want to be in school in the hall, bro. And, you know, I'm going to have a microphone like a real one, you know, and somehow I had it
not the vacuum cleaner tube.
Oh, bro. We never even had it. I wasn't even in music class. Like, they were like, oh, do you do music? I was like, yeah. But I wasn't even in the class. I was just like, I want to. Anyway, me and my bros. So we never actually had a practice, you know. But I practiced like, bro, on the way to school, on the way back home, and lunchtime. I practiced like my ass off. And the bros were like, "Oh, you fellas ready?" And they were like, "Yeah, bro, we practicing phases." And there's 3 of them, so I was like, "Oh, you know, shit, whatever, up to you." And my verse was like last, bro. Anyway, we started off, bro, and the bro did a Busy Bone verse, right? Busy Bone, bro. He's probably the most difficult tone, pitch, flow that you could even pick, bro. You know, you're better off trying to do Cypress Hill, you know. So anyway, the bro goes, no, I got a sus, bro. I'm doing Busy Brain, bro. Fuck, I got a sus, bro. I've got the best voice, and yeah, whatever. Anyway, bro, he totally missed the mark, bro, off the bat, and he just got ankle tapped the whole way through that verse, bro. It was one of those ones that he just hit the tone wrong, and then he just knew it, bro, and then he just went all red. Anyway, it was missing all the cues, bro, and we were just like, oh. You know, it was like when you watched Straight Outta Compton and Eazy-E's recording, and Cube was like, that ain't it. It was like, oh, that ain't it, bro. Well, like, that ain't, and just, he just got deeper and deeper, bro. Anyway, the second fellow didn't even get the chance to come in, bro, and, you know, they actually stopped the track. And they were like, the panel have decided this type of song might not be appropriate for the, and this was only the auditions, bro. I was like, I didn't even get to rap, man. I was pissed off, bro. I was just like, fuck, bro. I was really, I didn't talk to those cats for like 2 weeks, bro. I was just like, man, F yous, bro. You just F my chances up. And no, they didn't care. They didn't care because they were like gun rugby players and stuff, and they went off to play the championship game and shit. I was like, do your rugby shit, man. So I was actually driven by that quite a bit. And I was just like, there's no way I'm going out like that. I'm going to record something, man, and just, you know, like I didn't practice all this time for nothing. Anyway, I think that even though I didn't know it at the time, that was definitely driving my first mixtape. And it was crack up some of the subject matter, bro. I was like, bro, I didn't care. I'm just gonna slay anything you put on, bro. I'm just gonna rap. I'm just gonna not even give you guys a chance, bro. You know, like you didn't give me a chance, man. Like,
And so it
like,
was revenge,
bro. I was writing the whole songs, bro, and they were like, oh, yo, when's up? Oh, no, that beat's over, bro. Yeah, bro, the beat's finished, bro. You know, I don't think you can do any more on that beat. I was just driven, bro. But it was a good thing, you know. I was driven by the circumstance.
But that's, I mean, you know, your point before about crisscross, like that's interesting, right? Because that's the same point I made about Damn Native, right? Like seeing Hypes and the boys there and realizing that like they're Māori and they rap. I'm Māori, so I can rap. You know, you saw crisscross and we're like, oh, they're kids and they rap. Yeah, you know, I'm a kid, so I can rap. Yeah, and you know that tiny little circumstance of seeing somebody who you can relate to doing the thing, right? Like, and then there's 100 internet memes saying that same thing, right? But it's I always think and I always try to take a minute in these kōrero to just reflect and remind ourselves about the importance of that role model privilege, right? Like when you are in a position to be able to do the same mahi and to be able to remind other Māori or other whatever people from Hastings, other people with the name Tipene, whatever, you know, that they can do that same thing.
Oh, most definitely,
But it's like I think it gets lost a little bit because in the rest of the world, you know, in the rest of Aotearoa, like if you're not Māori, then you see yourself doing stuff all the time anyway, you know, because you are the other 85% of the population. So there's probably somebody like you doing the thing. Yeah. But, you know, there's you and maybe two other people doing hip hop that is Māori. You know, so it's and it goes against some of our kind of our kumaratanga, and you know we don't often want to talk about the stuff that we do.
True,
but I think that it's more important personally to be able to carry out that mahi of being crisscross or of being Hypes or of being a rapper with the name Tipene than it is to you know, to not speak of the reka.
Yeah, bro. I think, you know, here's a little thing, something I heard from Mike King, bro. I did a bit of mahi with Mike King. He works in some pretty tough spaces, bro. And he says to me, he says, like, for Māori males, he says, look, you know, when we're at school, where's all the Māori sitting in the classroom? So I ask you that question. Where did you sit in the classroom, Peter? Whereabouts did you sit?
Bro, Otaki was. I was pretty lucky in Otaki because my mum knew heaps of the teachers. I could sit in the middle of the class.
Yeah. Well, you're one of those guys. Yeah. So I sat in the back. Why? Wow, I just knew that if they asked me a question and I didn't know what the answer was, I'd probably feel a little bit small, and like I'm probably gonna just say, I'll just might as well be naughty and if I can get booted up, then look like a dumb, I sat in the back quite a bit, bro. And even in the kapahaka, I did kapahaka at school. We are the boys, they're in the back, again. This is just kind of psychology type thing. We're the boys in the class photos. They're in the back. We are the boys at the marae. They're there at the back. But someone was in the front. Someone was there. Someone had to be there. Because what's the point of all us grabbing a spade and digging the hole if there's no one out the front doing the corridor and welcoming the ope on to the... Then we start looking around like, anyone could dig a hole. Shit, the kids could come back here and do this. Why are we hiding over here? Why are we at the back? Why are we? So it's all questions to ourselves, Well, why was that the buzz? And we get this whole thing, why to be humble, My dad always told me, don't blow your own trumpet. If you're any good, somebody will blow it for you. And I was like, oh yeah, I get that. And I was going, well, at what point do you go, fuck it?
Yeah.
Is it when everyone's just about to leave and you're like, what's the last trick in the bell? Well, shit, Yeah. Or do we give everyone else the trumpet and say, however you want to approach it? I think at some point you have to stand proud, and it's okay to do that, with respect.
And especially, and it's easier to do it with respect when you remember and realize, and it took a while for me to have that realization that actually that is our role as Māori, right? Is to support our whānau, hapu, iwi, and to help them, and to aki their mana. And we do that by reminding them what they can do as well, right?
Absolutely, bro.
And to do that, you got to blow that trumpet. So
you got to show them.
Go, oh, cool.
Yeah, you got to show them.
I'm going to grab a trumpet too.
Yeah. Is that how you blow that thing? Damn.
And now for a word from our sponsors.
Paperback Gorillas is brought to you by Kapiti Island Honey, the finest honey on the... We're not really sponsored. Kapiti Island Honey is just the koha we send out to our manuhiri to say thank you for their time in Māori. We spend our time and energy on this kaupapa because we believe it's worth it in order to share these kōrero, these conversations and learnings with you. But aside from those hours that we spend, it does also cost money, especially as more and more of these conversations have to happen remotely. Not many of the tools that work well are free. But again, we spend that money because we think it's worth it. If you're enjoying this episode or any of the others and you think they're worth the time and money, then please visit our Patreon page and look at how you can help out. By becoming a patron, you'll get exclusive access to a whole bunch of extra content, including one of my favorites, which is the breakdown and lessons or learnings that I've had from each of these kōrero, which I take time to write out after each episode. You'll have a chance to suggest manuhiri or guests and a whole lot more. But most importantly, you'll be helping keep this kaupapa alive. And you can do that by visiting patreon.com/paperbackgorillas. That's patreon.com/paperbackgorillas. The link is in the show description. There are $2 options, $5 options, and every bit of help means that we're paying less out of our own pocket to share these learnings with you. This is also the part of the show where I say thank you to our Paperback Gorilla patron whānau who are already doing that. So Atawhai, Anaru, Anna, Arama and Lincoln, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. A massive thank you to all of you for your support, your belief in the kaupapa. We wouldn't be online if it wasn't for you. Kia ora.
Bro, what are you most proud of in your career, in your music career?
Most proud of? Thing that comes to my mind straight away is I did a song with my mum, who's now passed on. She's there forever, bro. You know, she's there for my mokos, my kids. They can hear her whenever they want. You know, she's forever. Her Māori is forever there. You know, because you can look at a photo and go, yeah, there's your nan, but they don't really connect with just a photo. But when you hear her, you can feel her. You know, oh, wow. You know, you get a idea of they say a picture can paint 1,000 words, but a voice can put you right there, you know. And you know, capturing my kids as well, and their different stages of life, because they're scattered throughout the timeline of my music. I know that if anything ever happens to me, you know, as well, they know how to find me. You know, I'm not far. That's probably the most thing I'm most proud of, bro, is that legacy that everyone's going to go through tough times. Everyone's going to go through a tough time, and when you need that support from someone that's not there anymore physically, music is the ultimate, man. It's the ultimate. You know, I always thought, you know, when you go to, you know, the whare nui and you see all those mean photos of all your tūpuna, and they just look hearty, you know, like, oh, you know, like they look tough as you just like, I used to talk to them all the time, like, wonder what that guy was like, you know, like he looks pretty mean, but wonder what he was actually like, you know, like talk like this, you know, because we always talk about them and they're like their highest achievements and the boom and the best. But was he what kind of person was he? Was he a funny guy? Or was he I don't know, was he playful? Was he good at sport? Like, we don't know these things, you know. And I thought, fuck, if that carving could talk, I wonder what he would say, you know. I wonder what we'll be learning about our tūpuna, you know. And if these photos could actually talk and they could talk about their lives, you know, what would they say, you know? Would I be like them, you know? Would there be something that they did and I'd be like, oh man, I'm into that too. Fuck, Buzzy, you know? There's a strong chance of that happening, but we never know. So I had that epiphany, like, shit, I'm going to be on that wall one day. You know? In 100 years' time, my mokos are going to be asking the same thing. Who's that fella up there? Why is he all the way up there? Why is he holding what is that? A microphone? What is that? Oh, yeah. Bro, that's your great...
before the chip? That's before the implants.
That was before the hologram shows, you know, and you know, they're like, oh, bro, that's your bro, that's Tipene. Oh, is it? Who's that? Boop, Heritage Trail, bro. You know what I mean? So for me, it's about connection, bro. Yeah, it's about connection, constant connection, you know, because when you feel connected to something, you feel strong, you feel powerful, you feel sure about what you're doing, even if you don't know the how. Even if you're not quite sure on how it's going to happen, you're sure on what you want to do, you're sure on internally who you are, what you want to represent, your values, whatever they may be. You know, I just feel that connection is what every living thing longs for, bro. You know? So yeah, those will be my proudest moments, brother.
Just there, no, Brian. Talking about the tūpuna on the wall. I just realized reading Dr. Hinemoa's Hinemoa Elder's Puka Puka Aroha over the last couple of days, and there's a cool thing in there about thinking about our children as the ancestors or the tūpuna that they will be, and using that as a actually, I mean, I think this is what you were saying, but the interpretation that I took out of it was the you know, when you're feeding those those little crazy souls and helping them grow into what they're going to be, to think that far ahead and to think about, what kind of tūpuna do I want to be helping grow? Because that changes the way you think about it, right? Like, and it changes the power dynamic of, this is my tamaiti, and I need to make sure they do X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, actually, like, that's somebody's tūpuna, and how can I help them be that well?
Well, that way of thinking is not a new thing. Our tūpuna were doing that when they were alive, They were thinking 100 years, 200 years ahead, because how do you think we know all of this stuff now,
Yeah.
This is not you know what I mean? Like, it's something that we actually naturally did anyway. We just forgot about that, So Heritage Trail is, it's for 100 years' time. Yeah. And probably more. It's probably like 1,000, bro. Because the thing is, it comes from me, but it's not about me, It's about where I am in the timeline, It's a lot. It's come from somewhere. It's here now with us, and it's going somewhere. It's a legacy, bro. And I look at it like that, because then like, just like a navigator, like Kupe, now that you can sense what's coming. You just can't physically see it, where this world teaches you, if you can't see it, then that's where your limit is. No, it's not, man. If you can see it in here, the greatest navigators ever could see it in their hearts before they saw it with their eyes. That's the only way that could have happened, because they can't fly, bro. It's so there's a lot to learn from that. There's a lot to learn from our past, bro. There's a lot to learn about how just our approach to things, and hip hop, the same thing. It's I believe it was tūpuna driven, bro. Some of those waiata, I know now that it feels like now that I didn't even write some of that stuff. Because I just decided that's what was going to happen. And before I knew it, I had something in front of me going, oosh, fuck, mean. And there was lots of those moments, and I got to give a mihi out to Tipene, bro. Tipene was very instrumental in making it happen. He's Māori, Indian, Samoan. The bro's got the meanest mixture. He wasn't brought up with his taha Māori, so music was a big thing for him. Well, that helped him cope with a lot of things in his life, and still does. And so that became a relationship too. I was teaching him a lot about what I was talking about, how it related to him, which enhanced him even further to push into areas he never been before. He made a majority of the beats on that album, and we all know he's amazing sonically, but everything was intentional in terms of putting it in there, because he was just like, learned something new about, like a ariki, for example. He's like, I didn't really know what that was. And I was like, yeah, bro, it's like the gods, bro, and our atua, and we channeling their energy. And bro, and he just like boom and zoned out and just done some TNA stuff. And he was like this, bro. I'm like, that'll do. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I'll rewrite my... But, we need that, bro. We need guys. We need our people to be pushing for that, because it's ours, bro. It's ours to use. It's ours to not use. It's ours to empower others with as well, So when, for example, on the front cover of Heritage Trail is a po of our tūpuna kahungunu, and the Māori tīkanga police were like, hey, did you ask if you could use and I was like, well, who am I going to ask him? Like, I'm sure he'd be all good with it, And if not, then I've karakia to him anyway. So there's no one here that can tell me that I can't use my tūpuna, Is that what you're saying? Well, kapai. Because I tell you what, I'm going to use it anyway. And I'm going to use it in the most respectful way. I'm about shedding light on him and uplifting others through his mana, you know, to mana aki others, bro, you know, to empower others. And, you know, and I know that when they heard the music, it was a different story, you know, like, not that I was trying to prove nothing. I was just like, just give it just push play, you know, and you'll see Kahungunu in there. You'll feel him, and you'll understand that I'm not saying I'm Kahungunu. I'm not him. I'm his descendant, you know. But I carry that, you know. I'm channeling the energy from our tūpuna. That's why I say tūpuna driven, you know, like kaupapa driven. But this is definitely tūpuna driven, bro. This is coming to me from everywhere.
We're kind of looping back to that kōrero we kind of started having around, you know, using our position and our privilege as having a bit of a platform, or being in a place where we're happy, knowing that not all of our people are. And the easiest way that I find to think about this question is, if I think about, and so what I'm asking for you to do, please, bro, is to think about some of the bros that you grew up with, who are not in a position where they're living a life that they love as much as you are, where they can identify those, you know, those four passions, and say honestly that they're following them. Like, what sets you apart from those bros, and not in a bad way, but in a way to hopefully pinpoint some of those things that we can try and help with when needed.
Yeah, I think it's just decisions, bro. You know, the decisions we made, you know. So I believe these three things that put you in the place you are in your life, you know. Like, the first thing is genetics. You know, you look like you're half your mum, you're half your dad. You know, the second one is your environment, you know, how you're brought up. That's your values and everything that you learn, taught, education, the way you walk, the way you everything. And the third one is the decisions you make, really. You know, if you think about, if you go one step back, you know, you can grow up in the same household as somebody, like my brother. Like, we even slept in the same bed till we were too big, you know. And we're in totally different places in life. You know, there's no better or worse, but the thing is, the only thing that separated us, we had the same values, we had the same teachings, we had the same same everything, but I just made different decisions than my bro, you know. And that's it, really. You know, it comes down to, you get to a certain place, look, which way am I going to go? Because everyone's got a choice, you know. You can't say, oh, I didn't have choices, you know. I was like, well, you can. No, you did, you know, the whole way. You just, you know, for whatever you chose that way, and we grew up in the same place, like we were talking about. You know, it doesn't have to be the same area, but, you know, I think it came down to that, bro. And if that's the first step, is making the decision, bro, and like, and then it's follow through. You know, you got to follow through with those decisions that you make. That's the toughest part, because it's like a diet, bro. When you say, "Oh, I'm gonna lose weight, man," you know, when you lose weight, you know, and you make that decision. That's the easy part. You got to follow through with that. Now you got to get your ass up every day. You got to work out. You got to eat all of that rabbit food and all of that, and you got to keep doing it, and it's gonna get tough. That's when it's just straight grit, bro. That's when it's just straight grit.
So if you both know that, you know, you both know what you know, what good is, like what a good outcome is, not good or bad, but what a good outcome is, then why do you think you would make a different decision than your brother?
Yeah. Yeah, I got this thing, bro, and I talked to the rangatahi about this, and it goes like this. Feel like I'm in class now. It goes like this, you know.
Teach.
There's the hard way, and there's the hard way. Straight away they go, isn't the hard way and the easy way? And I'm like, no, there's the hard way and the hard way, and I'll explain them to you. This hard way is, you do jack shit, you muck around, you don't do your credits, you don't come to school, you don't put in the mahi, right? but it's going to get harder for you as life goes on, because you're not going to be able to get a good mahi. You're not going to have education. You're not going to be able to navigate this world as well. You know, you're not going to know what commitment is, sports environments, whatever. Okay, that's the first hard way. The second hard way is do that mahi, do that shit, grind yourself through it, right? That's still hard. But as you get on, life gets easier for you, because now you've got doors opening for you. Now you've got, the difference is they're looking for the shortest, sharpest way to do jack shit. You know? So I was like, well, if there's the hard way or there's the hard way. One has rewards, the other one has nothing. The other one just stays hard. So, wouldn't you just rather have some rewards? Oh, yeah, hard. That sounds like dumb if you do it the other way. I'm like, well, yeah. The easy way, that's a myth. That doesn't exist. There ain't no easy way. The hard way with hard mahi, sticking at it, it gets easier for you. The other hard way, you ain't do jack shit. It's just going to get harder and harder through life. So, which one do you want? One with rewards or one without rewards? So that's quite easy when they say like, oh, definitely rewards, far, you know. We don't want to have jack shit, you know. I'm like, all right, let's get to work then, bro. You know, like, oh yeah, sweet. So you know, that's what I would say, bro. You know, that's what it is. You know, it's what decision that you make, because they think, oh yeah, I'll just stay at home all day, play PlayStation, and I'm going to be sweet, and I'm going to be cruising it, just bowling, whatever, you know. And then the bro gets a car, and you're like still driving the car on a PlayStation. Oh, gee, pick me up. Oh, now, bro, I got to go work. Oh, fuck, pick me up after that. Oh, now I got to go and get the missus. Oh, fuck, ratchet. Then you got no time for these guys, and you're like, and they're like, you know, you're either growing or you're shrinking. You know, we're like plants, bro. You know, none of us stay the same. You don't stay the same. It doesn't happen. We're living things. We're either going this way to higher things, or we're going back this way, you know, back to death, you know, type of thing. So, yeah, which one are you?
Yeah, I mean, well, it sounds like for those kids, bro, the difference for them is that they have you as a teacher. So now, bro, on that same kind of thought process, like imagine there's a parallel universe somewhere, and in that parallel universe, you're still living in Hastings, and you never found hip hop as a pathway that you could actually take to get to this life where you are now doing these things that you love. In that parallel universe, what would have stopped you from getting to where you are now?
Myself. Yeah, because that would have probably been the only thing that could stop me doing anything. Because for me, one of the most valuable things that I've learned in my life is I can't remember, I think it was a Pākehā fella told me, he goes, you got to get out of your own way. Hey? Because you got to get out of your own way. I'm like, well, as a young fella, you're like, well, I'm not in my own way. I'm not in my own way. I was like, it's like, what do you mean in my own way? Fuck, how do you get in my own way? Like, get in my own way. Like, it's like, bro, you know, have you talked yourself out of anything before? I'm like, well, yeah, heaps of times, like doing the dishes and, you know, yeah. So, you know, you're in your own way, right? You know, I was like, well, is that? So when you think about doing something great, could you also talk yourself out of that? I'm like, well, yeah, I could make up heaps of reasons not to do something awesome. Because I'm scared, because it's too hard, because someone might laugh at me. What if I build a plane that can't fly? You know, all those kinds of things, you know. And I tell you what, bro, we have those internal battles with ourselves even every day, even still now, you know. It's just something that the only thing that can really stop you is you know. That's what I believe in my experience, is that, you know, you could say, oh, bro, you know, if I got my leg got chopped off, bro, and like got crushed under a car, bro, I can't do anything anymore. Well, bro, just watch the Paralympics, Kaz. You know, you look at them, bro. Some of them got no arms, no legs, and bro, they're freaking winning gold medals, Kaz. Well, what's the matter with you? You know, because we tell ourselves, oh, I can't do this now because, man, well, I'm too old. I'm sure, you know, or you know, my time's up, or oh, there's way better fellas out there. we can be creative and say all the different reasons. Wow, my beats suck. My last BP was a flop. What else? I haven't got. I'm not muscly, and shut up, yeah. You know what I mean? Get out of your own way and give yourself a chance. Hey, because I'll tell you what, bro, Māoris are the most creative at mocking people. Do you know why? Because we practice on ourselves. We practice mocking ourselves to ourselves in our own heads. That's why when it comes to mocking someone else, shit, we got kite full of that. Yeah, we're gonna go in on them, bro. Because I tell you what, every way that I'm insecure, I'm gonna exploit that. But of course, it's not about me. Shit, no, it's about their fellow over there. But really, that was me beating my own self up in my own head, smashing my own wairu apart. So, oh well. Whichever is the top reason at the top, I'm using that one. Yeah, I'm not doing it. Get out of your own way, bro. Is what something that I definitely, it's an insecurity thing. It's something that especially Māori male specific people, we ain't gonna talk about our weaknesses. Shit.
On the topic of gems and taonga, you've hung out with a whole lot of our rangatira of hip hop, and I imagine that you've heard a few gems and learned a few things. What's one teacher that you've listened to in our world of hip hop, and what did you learn from them, and what made you listen to them?
That's actually I think what comes to mind straight away. I was just talking about this the other day. I'm gonna start with this one, Scribe. So I met Scribe sort of when he was at his height, bro, and he was just powerful as heck. See the dude live, bro. Even now you see him live, and you're like, that dude, he got some presence, man. He's actually believes what he's saying, and you can hear it, and you can feel it, you can see it, and you're just like, it's. And he said, bro, I've got to, I asked him for some advice. I was like, man, I see what you're doing, bro. That's amazing, man. And he said, bro, all I could say is just be undeniable, be undeniable, And I was like, yeah. And he goes, to the point where they can't even talk about hip hop without talking about you. They can't talk about Aotearoa without talking about Tipene. They can't, you know what I'm saying? So when you go and you put yourself into something, whatever that may be, don't go to participate. Go for the gold medal, G. If you're gonna do it, you might as well go for the gold. And when you hear in the lyrics, even Damn Native said it. He said, what do you say? Fuck the silver medalist, man. I'm the gold winner. Proving that the damn was good. Native, that's the name it took, and none that off the hook. Brothers, listen up to my, And I think Scribble said it too. I think it was in the Crusader. For the silver, I can never settle. I'm taking the gold medal. I suggest that you do the same. You best improve your game or get burned by the Canterbury flame. Hey, so they went in with that. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna give it everything I got. And and I was like, yo, I could see that's what you're doing on that stage. You just emptying the tank every time the bro's on the stage. That mic, bro, you don't want to be after that dude, Yeah. Especially when he was at his most powerful. You're like, shit, this guy, far. And you can only go learn from that, So as a hip-hop, artist in the live performance, that's something that I always remembered about the bro and the music. When there's certain songs that you just listen to and you hear and you just know straight away. And you're just like, shit. Ain't no one fucking with that. That's Scribe. Even Dreaming, those songs come on and you're just like, bro, it's over. Whoever's, So for me, yeah, bro, that will be probably one of the things that have stuck with me quite a bit.
And I think you kind of already answered this, but I mean, why did you listen to him when you like sum up why you listened when he gave you that taonga?
I knew that someone of that, as powerful as he was at that time, could really make some change, could really, really make some real impact on people, for positive or for negative, and I knew that when you have that kind of power, you need to be responsible about that power. And I knew that for me to do what I wanted to do, to reach Māori first and foremost, I needed to get myself to that level that they will go, shit, I'm listening now, because I had some things to share with them, some things that could actually help them and uplift. And that's what's so beautiful about, the Crusader album, bro. It was done with pure intentions of bringing, you listen to stand up, that wasn't even just hip hop. That was like, there was like heavy metal bands and, rock bands and the D4 and the and the, you know what I mean? Like, he was doing a lot more than he was reaching outside of the genre. It was about people and bringing people together, and you just think about that and you're like, bruh, yeah, I can understand why, everyone was just like, that dude, bro. What he did with his power, he brought everyone together, bro. That's kotahitanga, that's, whether he knew he was doing that or not, that's something that naturally came out of the bro, and he'll be forever remembered for what he did for hip hop, for just the music scene in general. So, yeah, that's why I listened, because I knew he had my attention. Yeah.
I mean, and on that same note, bro, you obviously work a lot with rangatahi. What's one thing they've taught you and that you might not have learned without them?
They taught me how to listen, actually, bro. Yeah. I wasn't very good at listening. I still am challenged a lot to listen. And I mean listening with intent, not listening to reply, listening to understand, that's how I wrote a lot of these waiata that are on Heritage Trail, Turangawaewae in specific. I wrote that song from my students. They had never been on a marae before. And I was trying to teach them about tīkanga marae, and the first point of call was like, oh, okay, so who's been on the marae? You think, oh, someone will. No one. And I was like, whoa, shit, and yeah, so we did this little exercise. They wrote the ideas on the board, and their experiences, and most of them are negative. And I was like, well, how come I teach them about tīkanga marae if they have never been on one? That's going to be pretty tricky. So I thought, well, I'm going to use my powers to take them there, and that's where the idea for Turangawaewae came about, right from the marae, the tīkanga, all the way through the protocol, right from the karanga, which is Maisie, then the whai kōrero, then the hariru, then kai, and this is what this is what that is, this is why this is here, welcome, that was the whole idea, and I got that from listening to these rangatahi. So, a few other songs too. Yeah, bro. But that's what they taught me. Well, re-taught me.
How would you say your motivation has changed? Has it changed since you started out as an artist?
Yeah, I think it was initially to make my family proud. We didn't have a lot to be proud of in our generation. At the time, and I felt like, I wasn't going to be all black. I wasn't going to do all these things that a lot of my bros were doing, and I wasn't talented in those ways. And I thought, well, if I could make my family proud, that would be up there with oxygen. It's still there for me. Now my family's expanded, and I've got kids, and now I've got hundreds of young people that I've taught in my time, in my early. It's only been like 5 or 6 years in that realm. But I know they were watching me, I know they were watching me from a distance. They all sort of left school and doing, got kids and stuff now too, but they're still like, Whābatua, I saw your new song. That was me, Naz. I remember you coming up with that idea. And I was like, you actually did it. I was like, yeah. And they're like, So, it's about that now. It's like, it's bigger than me. Yeah.
Mm.
That's what keeps driving me, that it's a lot bigger than me, and I know that now you know, or you've got a smidgen of what your powers can do. You can't be quiet now. You can't just keep it on the hard drive at home now, bro. You know, you got to be actively doing that. And working in that space definitely keeps me in touch with what I think matters, you know, from the ground up. Yeah, from the ground up.
Well, bro, those are the kind of the bulk of the pātai and the kōrero. This podcast kind of actually originally kicked off with me and a few of the bros talking about books, and realizing that as Māori who read books, we were kind of like, "But did you ever talk about books with any of the bros at school?" And I was like, "Carl, like, I didn't tell any of the bros that I used to read books. Like, shame." And so then we thought, we should talk about books that we've read and try to make that cool. So on that note, bro, I don't even know if you read books for enjoyment. But do you have a book that you would gift a friend that you have read and enjoyed, or that you would gift because you would think others would read it and enjoy it?
This might surprise people a little bit, but I did it. I actually had difficulty reading as a young fella, and I think that came from a lot of pressure, sort of anxiety. Our teachers were they used to stand us up in assembly, and you had to read in front of, like, the whole, even as an adult, that's a bit of a shoot. You know,
bro.
and a passage
bro,
that
I remember just
yeah.
my little. While we're on this memory, I remember bro running out of our library at school because the same thing happened, crying.
Bro,
in primary school,
bro.
Like my turn, and I was out of there.
Yeah.
And it was shame too because my girlfriend was in there too.
Oh yeah, well, you ain't gonna score no girlfriend, so if you can't read, you know, bro. It was traumatic, bro. It was traumatic for me, you know, and I was just like, fuck, man. I hate school and I hate this, I hate that, you know, and I really had this real mamai for just anything to do with reading. I could read, but I used to get nervous because I know, like, soon as you muck a word up, bro, fuck. And everyone's looking at the same book going, bro, it's because, you know, like, fucking hell, fuck up, bro. You know, and that kind of, anyway, I'm talking, this is like primary school. I'm talking about like 7, 8, you know, probably even a little bit earlier than that. Anyway, I found Dr. Zeus. All right. Dr. Zeus, bro. Who's that? Oh, bro, he raps in his books. And I'm like, yo, does he? Had a read of those, bro. And I mastered those in like 3 reads, you know. And next time I got asked to read fucking Cat in the Hat, bro, I sat up and rapped the whole shit. You know, and they were like, oh. And bro, I could do...
He did the hard one.
I can do green eggs and ham too, G. Fuck, yeah, I got this. And bop, you know. And you could have shut me up. So it was actually the rapping thing that encouraged me to want to read, you know, because I was like, fuck, if that raps, bro, I can smash all of these. And, you know, that helped me get over that reading, that buzz. So getting into adulthood, you know, obviously I read with intent, but a little bit more things that interested me. Probably the only book, or the first book, and probably the only book I read thoroughly from front to back was a book that was given to me by my sister. It was called Taki Tumu. And I didn't really know too much about it. That's our waka. I read it about 3 times before it started connecting with me. You know, it's a bit of a novel, but it was just a lot of Māori words, and I was always like, fuck, I don't really know what that means. I don't know what that means. But I keep reading it, and then I started figuring out the context and why they were using these particular words in certain places. And I think something happened for me, bro. I think something happened for me, like, even as an orator, as a writer, I was understanding how they were putting in certain words in certain places. So when you hear my rhymes, you know, it feels like it's supposed to go there. You know, it feels like, oh, yeah, I didn't really think that was a Māori word, but it is. And it's if you're thinking technical, they're all multied up too with the English words and some, but the story doesn't waver. It's like something I've learned from actually reading that book, bro. Would I gift that to someone? Yeah, definitely. I would gift that to them as an adult, even as a kid, because I know that it took me a while to engage what was happening in that book. And I think it really done something for me that I'm only starting to realize now. Yeah, but at the start, yeah, bro, Dr. Zeus kills anything from Dr. Zeus.
The meanest MC in the primary school library. Bro, just while we're on books, and just because it's here on my desk, have you read that? Have you seen that?
I just lifted up the book Te Kai a Te Rangatira. You can't see it obviously, but Tipene could.
Oh wow, Carl, I haven't seen that.
Bro, mean.
Wow.
Louis, but, bro, it's mean. That's so. Do you know the Tuia group?
Yep.
Like the the leadership. So they a group from there. Marcus Akuhata Brown and a few other crew put it together. So it's 100 interviews from rangatira Māori around the motu, and they like the Tuia kaupapa is obviously rangatahi driven, and so the rangatahi took these interviews home, and I was actually just talking to a couple of them today about it. Their process was like each had an interview that they took, and they would read it, and then they'd come back and wānanga about their key kind of takeouts, and those are the bits that they would condense into the pages.
Yeah.
But bro, it's mean, and it's choice because some of it is in te reo Māori and some is in te reo Pākehā. But especially for me, as I'm learning the reo, it's pretty much because I'm like at the point where I can, like, it takes me a way too long, but I can read through a whole page and digest it, and I'm also learning bits of reo here and there through the process. But
massive.
Yeah, bro, the mātauranga in there is mean. Yeah, real choice.
Food for thought, brother. Mean. I'll read it after you.
Yeah, bro. So I don't know how much postage will be, but I'll send you
that,
a copy.
That looks pretty heavy, bro.
Bro, it is heavy.
I might have to just roll through when I come through Aotearoa.
Yeah, sweet. Bro, what would you tell 16-year-old Tipene?
I would tell him, always be yourself, because you could be somebody I could call on if I needed help. I would say you could be remembered as a po holding up the whare. You could shelter all the whānau. I would say learn about who you come from. That's a long line of chiefs who were born by the seasons of warm island breezes, shores and the seas. That's Aotearoa, where we source energy. I would say look after your mum. I would say listen even if it pisses you off. I would say it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Because you never get anything done. Just do it. I would also say you're beautiful. Did you know that? Did you know you're cool? Yeah, I would say things like that, bro. You know, and I could go on. I'm probably going to write a song about that now. Yeah, I would say things along those lines because I was a little bit of a overthinker as a young fella. I know that I was. My dad used to call me observant. You know, and then wonder. You know, it seemed like I was this huge high achiever. I came out of nowhere and done all these awesome things. But I was there the whole time. I was just watching, you know. I was just watching and going, yo, how you doing that? All that shit. No way. You know. So, you know, I'm 13 siblings, bro, and I'm in the middle. So I got to see a few things before I was like, yeah, definitely not leaving school at 14. Shit. Definitely not getting anyone pregnant before I'm 20. Definitely not jumping in the Mongol mob. Yeah. No, that's, yeah. So, you know, I was fortunate in a lot of ways, but I would just say, you know, be yourself, you know, do what you're doing anyway, because, you know, it's all going to make sense.
Kia ora. Now, bro, the next question is meant to be the overall wrap up, and you might have just done that already, but if you could insert one whakaaro, one thought into the mind of everybody in Aotearoa, what would it be?
Learn about who you come from, because it'll teach you about yourself.
Kia ora.
You know, where you come from, yeah, but who you come from. Because just because you're in a place, it doesn't mean you're from there. You know, that's going, you know, my mum and dad were whāngai, you know. We knew who the family was, though, and we knew that. But the whāngai, you know, we couldn't go too much off of that because it's not a genetic thing. It's definitely, it's just the aroha thing. You know, you got to understand why you're all 6 feet tall. You got to understand why you are all physically strong, and, you know, and on this side you're all full of meatheads, and, you know, like, you got to understand these things, you know, because it helps you navigate. Because I reckon that's what we all are, bro. We all navigators. We have to, because this world is, bro, you know, it don't wait for you. It don't, you know what I mean? You have to find your way through it. So you know how to navigate when you know what your strengths are, and what to be careful of, you know? Yeah. Learn about who you come from. Yeah.
Kia ora. Bro, well, thank you for a wānanga, a kōrero. Like I said, thank you for probably provoking me to get the pop filter out again.
Good.
Finish off some waiata.
Just saying, bro. Just saying. I saw that in a video of yours about 15 years ago, maybe, and Tina was in your room.
That mic stand.
That SE filter.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I saw that, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And I bought one. It's right there. You know, I bought one based on your video. So, you know, I was like, what is that thing? I remember zooming in and I just saw SE. And I was like, what is SE?
Yeah.
I need one of those things. And I've had it for, bro, 10 plus years. So thank you for that, bro.
Bro, eh?
Well, I did all my albums off it, including Heritage Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
Yeah, it's stood the test of time, that little portable booth.
It's a heavy mofo.
Nah, but bro, thank you for the kōrero and for all of the taonga. And again, bro, thank you for the album, and for being a role model. I mean, this whole kaupapa of this podcast is about, you know, if nothing else, just reminding our people that there are others like us, others like you out there doing things that they love, and that's what success is. So
definitely,
music, accolades, you know, ability to pay your mortgage, all of that stuff aside, bro, it's just, for me, the important thing is reminding our people that you can find ways to spend the minutes and the hours doing stuff that you love, because those minutes and those hours add up to the days, and those days add up to your life, right? And at the end of those, at the end of that big one, like, you don't want to be there going, shit, I wish I tried to find a way to do something that I love, because now I don't have any time to do that now. It's over. I'm in bed, and the doctors told me I might have a week to go.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
here
so thank you for being here, bro. Thank you for reminding our people.
Well, that's us, Te Whānau. Thanks for stopping by, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Paperback Gorillas as much as we enjoyed having the kōrero. Most importantly, we hope there was something in there for you of value to put into your kete and take away. Don't forget to hit subscribe on your podcast app or Spotify or wherever you're listening. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/paperbackgorillas, and check out paperbackgorillas.co.nz for videos and news about upcoming episodes. And while you're here, just another plug, patreon.com/paperbackgorillas. That's patreon.com/paperbackgorillas. Show us some love, tautoko, some support, and help us keep the lights on and help keep the podcast ad-free. Kia ora.